How's it going, you guys? It's Scott with Everyday Shed. Now I'm out here at my Lowe's looking at some Heartland sheds. This is one of the most common options for homeowners, and they're pretty much at every Lowe's store that you'll see. And there's some goods and bads to these sheds. So let's quickly go over them so you can make the right choice for your own home. Now, some of the pros are you can actually see the product. You can go to pretty much any Lowe's and they're gonna have anywhere between 4 and maybe 8 different models. A lot of these in the classic gable style that you'll see because that's the most popular by far, and ranging kind of in that 8x12 up to 10x12 size class, because again, that's one of the most common in most parts of the United States. The pricing isn't too bad, and they do offer both do-it-yourself kits, usually delivered in about 3 weeks, and also professionally installed, depending on your area, can have a similar lead time or even longer. Just know, look at some online reviews because it looks like customers' experience might not be translating, and there seems to be a lot of customers that are having not so great experience with Heartland, especially on the professionally installed side. And then another big positive is even a standard Heartland shed will come with 10-year material warranty and a 1-year craftsmanship warranty if you have a professionally installed. Now they're really pushing what's called the shed armor package, which adds architectural shingles. It adds closer spacing on your floor joists. I think they go down to 12 inches opposed to 24 inches, which is not a good spacing, especially when using 2x4s for your floor joists, which is what they're going to use. And then a better decking. You'll have a water resistant LP product for your decking. That would then come with the shed armor of a 15-year warranty for materials and a 5-year craftsmanship. So that's some of the best in the industry and might be something you're looking for, assuming that they actually stand behind their warranty. That is an assumption. So let's go ahead and jump on the inside and we'll finish up the pros and then jump over to the cons, which there are several. And then the last pro really for Heartland is just they have a ton of variety, almost the most in the industry. They have tiny little lean-tos you can put on the side of your house, and then a lot within the range of that 10x12, the 8x12, or even up to the Vista or Summit, which are almost detached garages and really huge structures overall, with the Summit having a whole second story within the structure. Now let's start on the cons. Now be careful when you're looking at the pricing. So if you're doing the do-it-yourself option, depending on which series you're looking at, make sure it has a floor with it. And then also understand, usually it doesn't come with any of your roofing materials, shingles, no caulk for the outside to seal everything up, and no paint. So just make sure you're adding all those in, especially if you're looking at a different option like we do through Shed School and our shed builders, where that's going to be all inclusive, all painted in your yard. So if you're comparing a Heartland option, you'd want to make sure that you're adding in those additional costs to know what you're getting. I think a lot of people are disappointed in that. For instance, I did talk to Heartland, and it looks like to get the painting package, even with the professional option, it's kind of $500 or $600 for the materials of the paint, the caulk, and then the labor associated to that. So that is a substantial upgrade in terms of what you're gonna have to pay. And then leveling out the shed, it sounds like they're just gonna give you 4x4 post standard, which they said that goes up to 6 inches. So I'm not sure if they're stacking 4x4 posts or what they're doing. And then for another about $200 or $150 to $200, they'll bring you up 18 inches if you have a lot more slope in your yard, and they're gonna use concrete blocks like we do on our shed builds here in Georgia. So the cons are kind of within that pricing, that be careful. What you see online is the as low as price, the do-it-yourself option, missing a bunch of things that you're gonna need to complete the project, and the installed price is significantly higher and not usually listed on the website. And then a little bit of a pro tip here, if the doors are open on these sheds, they pretty much always have wasp nests. So if you go running in and out of these sheds, you might get an unpleasant surprise when you stir up one of these nests. Now, another big point is you go to Lowe's, you talk to somebody about Heartland, there's really nobody to talk to that knows these sheds. That is one of the downfall. They're featured here at Lowe's, but not too many people know anything about the sheds at Lowe's, so you do have to call their 1-800 number, which I have had good luck with, so I do want to give them credit there. Now, quickly on the build quality, which I think is a drawback. This is not uncommon, but if you look between your stud spacing, you're gonna have 24-inch studs for your walls. For a minimum amount of material cost, you could do 16-inch centers and have a much better overall structure. And then when we look at our double top plate here, one, it has a double top plate, which is good, but it's spliced in. I would much rather prefer having one continuous piece of dimensional lumber for my double top plates, which as a homeowner, you're gonna be able to buy. Any local shed builders or pre-built shed builders are gonna give you a continuous double top plate. So look out for that. I don't love that it's kind of spliced in and you have pieces of wood coming together all around your top plates. And then depending on the design, look at your corners. Sometimes you'll have studs in your corners, but let me show you another option that will actually only have one wall with a corner stud and the other one is missing to save on cost. So depending on what series you're getting, sometimes you'll just have where you have 24-inch spacing on your back wall here. That finishes out your stud here, but then your sidewall comes in with a double top plate, a bottom plate, but then no stud in the corner. And then your siding is just gonna bring that in and give you a tie-in between your sidewall and your back wall. I don't love that design. And again, for pretty minimal cost, you could have a stud in the corner, which is ideal for most shed designs. So I just want to give a tangible example of how these prices really can creep up on you. If we look at the Hanover, a 10 by 12, this would be a very popular shed. It's $30.99 here on the pamphlet that you can pick up at most of the Lowe's locations inside the sheds. The actual price online you're going to see is $31.99. So it went up a little bit. That's understandable. These things were printed out and now dated. But that is for DIY. It doesn't even show you the professionally installed. So I'm going to give them the benefit of doubt and say, okay, they're charging here $1,100 for install. So we need to add $1,100 for the installation. Now that is not painted. So $540 needs to be added if you want your shed painted, which most of us do. Some of us might be taking on as a DIY, but that is not going to come with all the shed armor benefits. So your floor might have 24-inch spacing and only 2x4s. So that is not a good thing. I'm not even going to add this price in, but just know you're going to get a different product than what you probably saw at Lowe's compared to what you're purchasing if you do not step up to the shed armor. But also leveling out your floor 157 more. And why do I say that? Because they're only going to give you 6 inches of leveling across your shed, which depending on where you're at, it's very realistic that you might need more than that. So if you add all these prices up, that's going to bring you to $4,996 on this version. Now, just so you know, we build a completely superior product, at least I feel, down here in Georgia. And if we added one window, we are less than this. We would be somewhere around the 4,500 to 4,750. That's going to be 16-inch on center spaced wall studs. That's going to be similar siding product from LP. That is going to be 2x6 pressure treated floor, 16-inch on center, which is going to be way better than this floor. So that's why you got to check these prices, right? $31.99 is what you're going to see online. That's for the do-it-yourself kit. And there's all these additional things if you want it professionally installed. So you need to compare this price, whether you're doing pre-built, whether you're having one of our shed school members build it for you, or any other professional install. You're more in this price category towards $5,000 opposed to $3,000. Let me know what questions you guys have, and if you have personal experience with Heartland, we would love to hear down in the comments below the video. That is some of the most helpful to the other viewers to get your personal feedback so they can make an informed decision. Now, if you want to see my latest modern shed build, is a 12x16. It was a huge project. Check out this video right here. I'll walk you through all the parts, and we also have free shed plans and paid premium plans if that'll help you up on your own build. Now, if you're interested in diving way deeper into building your own sheds, maybe you're just looking for a side hustle, we just kicked off a new YouTube channel called Shed School, and you can check that right here. And just an amazing opportunity to earn up to $1,000 a day building simple, solid sheds in your own area. So thanks for joining me on this video, and we'll catch you over there on Shed School. Take care.